and welcome to my video series on how to build your membership business in Thinkific. In this video, I'm going to continue where I left off from the last video and focus on talking about payments, setting up your payment systems, and specifically whether you use Thinkific communities and or Peerboard community platform for your business. So first of all, before I get started, I want to refresh you a little bit on membership businesses. If you haven't checked it out, I'll include a link at the end of the video to check out the video to the Thinkific e-learning trends report, where it talks about how memberships are becoming more appealing and a lot more accessible and also more engaging for people who are looking for a different kind of experience than just buying a course. So with that said, let's get started. Memberships are much more common nowadays, with subscriptions and streaming services, and it just allows, you can think of it as instead of buying a software or product outright, you're allowing access to the product outright over the course of an entire year. And so instead of paying one lump sum, you're paying a monthly pricing. And so that can be really attractive because sometimes people aren't sure whether they want to commit to a whole year and they just want to commit to a month. It gives them an option to try out your product for a month and see if they like it before they commit to a year-long subscription. So that is one thing that is also one downside of a membership, is that sometimes people will subscribe for a month and get everything they need and then decide they're gonna cancel. And then that becomes a big cost because you have to then invest more time to grow your customer base and retain your customer base so that they don't churn or leave or cancel their subscription. In Thinkific, they used to allow for Stripe and PayPal for payment processing. Now you can still have Stripe if you would like, but now Thinkific has come out with their kind of payment processing called Thinkific Payments, which makes it easier to collect payments, track your orders, issue refunds, all within your Thinkific dashboard. So Thinkific really wants to make it easy for you so that you don't have to go into Stripe and navigate Stripe to issue refunds and track orders, track sales. You can do it all within your Thinkific dashboard. Now in Thinkific, when you are setting up your bundles and pricing, one of the things that's I think really cool that is also kind of on par with the subscription and membership trend is that there's usually like a 7-day or 14-day free trial. And so with Thinkific, when you're setting up your pricing, so this would be in the pricing tab. I'm using my silver tier as an example. I can set it up as $49.99, and here I can choose by months, days, weeks, or year. Now, generally with this kind of subscription, most people prefer to pay by month so that they can see whether they like your content enough to want to stay on, whether there's enough engagement, there's enough incentive to keep continuing on with the membership. Now, you can also structure it by days so that you can say, well, I want to charge people every 30 days instead of 31 days. That's the way that you can set it up. Now you can also set it by weeks as well, but I think monthly makes it more easier because also if you think about it, every time a person's card is charged, there is a payment fee that is collected on the back end. So it is more cost effective for you as a business in terms of fees, not to have to charge a person's card and those payment fees charged to the end price, to the final price every 2 weeks. And so this is a way to sort of take one fee at one time and make it easy for you to set up your pricing. Now, the cool thing that I mentioned earlier was the free trial. As you've seen maybe with a lot of subscriptions and streaming services, there's usually like a 7-day, or sometimes there's like bonuses, like 30-day free trial. And that's where Thinkific makes it really easy so that you can set up the pricing, but also set up a free trial period based on days and or months. Now, normally I wouldn't recommend a 1-month free trial because that's a lot of time for someone to consume your content and engage without really, committing to being part of your community. My recommendation is 7 to 14 days. That seems to be also the standard with also most software companies as well. And so it gives 7 days is good enough for, I would recommend, so if you're looking at this free trial, I would say between 7 to 14 days, 14 days being the most ideal because it takes people, a week to get started and to just check out everything, and then maybe another week to really decide whether they really want to commit or not. And so the cool thing with this free trial period is once you enable it, payments, and the pricing will charge the person's card if they don't cancel after the free trial is up. So then they're automatically joining your community once the free trial is up, once their card is charged. So that's one thing that I really, really like about the Thinkific platform, is that they make subscription and collecting membership fees really easy, and to be able to manage it all within your dashboard. And then just the free trial period. And so I want to show you how it would work. I'm on a demo account, so there's not a lot of orders, but I'll still show you what you would do. So under market and sell, you would see cross sales, coupons, all this stuff. Orders is where you would see all the orders that come in for your membership. And so once these orders come in, you can also always filter by date and time, but there are no orders right now. But if there were any orders, what Thinkific allows you to do is see the orders, see the names, and then issue a refund specifically from here rather than going into Stripe. So now I'm going to shift into talking about the community aspect. As most of us know, that communities and building community and nurturing a community and growing a community takes work. Not just, whether when you're developing a product and a course, but even when you have a membership, because that's why people want to buy into memberships, is for that community aspect. They like the idea of connecting with people online, offline, building those relationships, getting to know you, and having that kind of interaction that is kind of missing when you just buy a solo product. And so Thinkific Communities is built into the Thinkific platform. And so the one advantage of this is that you don't need to set up a Facebook group and have people spend all their time on Facebook. You're kind of keeping everyone in your membership within your Thinkific ecosystem. Now the cool thing is, in the communities you can kind of customize the colors and the font, have a community home banner page. That's kind of the very basic that they give you. So one of the beauties of the communities feature is that it's all within Thinkific ecosystem. It gives you some customization in terms of font, in terms of color. Some of the challenges with the community features that it doesn't allow you to moderate discussions, so that whatever gets posted. You can delete the comment later on, but there's no sort of approval process that is available in other community platforms. But if you are structuring your community, Thinkific communities, for your membership, the way I would set it up is very similar to how I would set it up with a course. So I would have your general kind of like housekeeping, dates, and you can kind of so the gear icon is where you can always add what the general section space covers. So I say this is community-wide announcements, discussions, dates, and links, etc. And then I want to go back to the way how I've set up the other aspects of my community with spaces. So as you can see, I have the spaces for general, which is kind of like a general community-wide discussion, updates. It's sort of like what I call admin, housekeeping information, upcoming like live calls, links to the Zoom. And then updates, I set up another space for updates, such as like if I make any changes to any content, or like I replace a video or the audio wasn't great, then I want to post any updates related to course content in this section. And then I want to set up a space for a course question. So this is just more course updates, but this is more like course specific questions where you can ask, hey, in this lesson, I know you talked about baking this 8-layer cake. The instructions from the actual layers weren't clear. Can you explain this? And so that's where I think course questions could go. Now, one of the challenges with the communities feature is that you can't do multi-type posts. So for example, if I write a post like question about layer cake, and then I post some text here, I can only choose to add an image, video, and or file. I can't have to pull different file combinations, which can be a challenge because sometimes when it can be a challenge because when we have a question and we want to post something, we want to have a video, but then we also want to show this specific file and workbook and worksheet. And so that's one of the limitations of the Thinkific communities posting for communities, is that there's not simple in the sense that you can post an image, video, and file, and there's just not a lot of customizations and features. But the idea is that if you were to set up also guest speakers, so that you could say this week I could have guest speaker number 1, and then I could say this will be all for guest speaker questions, guest speaker number 1 questions, and then I can create that post. And then anytime people have questions related to a guest speaker training, they would put it all under here. Now this kind of makes it a little bit easier to navigate so that students aren't posting questions for every guest speaker in here. You kind of have a designated space, and you can just structure it so that, you know, for each guest speaker you could put the date, the name, so that everything is kind of housed in one section rather than kind of having all these different threads going on. And so that's what I think really can make it really effective, is that I posted in the wrong one, but you get the idea, is that if you want to set it up that way, I think that's what makes it really effective. And then you can even, if you do monthly challenges, you can say monthly challenges and then add date so that people know which challenge it is, which date it is, and then you can kind of say April monthly challenge and then create the space. Now the one I want to also mention that with this setup is that the idea initially behind communities was that you could link a course. They wanted you to sort of link the courses to these specific spaces. Now with a membership, you can link different bundles, which can be a challenge for the user experience because it can be kind of hard to reference. So one of the challenges is that because you are selling in a membership bundles and access to multiple products, you don't have the option to sort of link a specific bundle so that people can navigate between this space and the actual bundle content. But you know, the students will just have to go back to the dashboard and click on the specific product that they have access to, review the material, and ask any specific questions related to that material, and then come back here to post. So that's one of the challenges that I see with this, using this as a community platform for your membership, but it's not doable. It just depends on how much effort you want to put into setting this up. The other alternative is, I've talked about this before, is Peerboard. And Peerboard is really awesome in the sense that there's a lot of customizations to not only the look and the design, but also the user experience, which I think is really important. So you can set up different monthly challenges, you can add emojis, and then what is also beautiful about Peerboard is that these posts can be customized and enhanced a little bit more than the text that you see in Thinkific communities. So if I make a new post, that was an old post, what I can do is make a new post, and I can say I want to post something in the monthly challenge and say things about monthly challenge. And then in this body text, I can customize this with emojis, I can add video, I can add images, I can make this a quote block, I can add bullet points. So it's a lot more, the style of it is a lot more enhanced, and I think it makes a difference because when you're reading a lot of text, you want to be able to highlight, bold, italicize, and emphasize it. That's what really makes Peerboard stand out. And it also is integrated directly within Thinkific so that it makes the navigation really seamless. And then once you add the link up to your landing page, then people know that they can always access their community here. The other important thing that I want to mention about the community is that even though the link is here, this is just for navigation purposes. If people are on your landing page and they see this and they click this and they're not enrolled, or they're not a member, then they will not have access to that. So that's a nice thing because then you can kind of decide to showcase maybe some parts of a monthly challenge, different spaces that you want to highlight as an incentive to encourage people to join your membership. With that, so let's just cancel that, and then let me go and show you further why Peerboard might be another great alternative to consider. And this is really important to consider in your business because sometimes you're not sure whether to invest in these additional platforms, but if you think about it from a user experience and customer experience, anything that really enhances and really exceeds the customer's experience with your business and how they engage and interact is worth it to invest. And so I can set up monthly challenges. Let's just say I have a video request section. I can put this as a space here so that people who have a specific video request can put the video request. And there's just a lot of different ways I can customize my different spaces with emojis and icons. And like I said, some of these I want to, let's just say at the end, I want to have a general freebie challenge to get people enrolled in my membership. And then I can create a freebie challenge in here and make that public and then keep people still within the Thinkific ecosystem through the Peerboard learning community integration. With Thinkific, if you really wanted to set up different cohorts, like different gold, silver, and bronze tiers, I think the one challenge there with Thinkific is that you'd have to set up groups. And so with Thinkific communities, if you had a gold, silver, and bronze tier, one of the challenges is you'd have to set up different groups so that the access level is designated to the appropriate tier that people have purchased. So that's where you have to make sure when you're setting up the community settings here that the access is students in groups. And so it's a lot more work to set up the groups and to manage the access levels in Thinkific for different tiers versus in Peerboard. So you can set up this cohort and then designate multiple bundles that are enrolled in the silver tier or the bronze tier that has access to this specific space. So that's why I would still recommend Peerboard as an alternative when you're trying to build out your membership community versus using Thinkific communities, which has some limitations and it's not as engaging, and it's also not a lot of customization in terms of text and adding video or adding different bullet points to really format your post for easier reading. I mean, if you think about it, people are busy these days and need to scan things quickly. And so if your post is just a bunch of plain text, people aren't going to read it as much as if it's a text that is bold, italicized, that has emojis or images to break up the block of text. So that is the summary and demo of how you use Thinkific to build a membership business. Let me know if you have questions, comments, and I look forward to any feedback. Thanks again.